All right, so we're here at USA MedBed, Hospital Direct Medical, Richmond, Virginia, San Diego, California, Cincinnati, Ohio. We're looking at the difference between a home care bed and an actual hospital bed. And technically, they can both be classified as hospital beds. But you'll see here in our showroom, we've got a lot of what we would actually call hospital beds for hospital use. And then a hospital bed that's basically going to be more for what I would just refer to as home care. And these are actually really popular beds that you're going to get from insurance. Now, this is a home care bed. Pretty easy to see that. I'm just going to show you some of the basic differences between this bed and an actual hospital bed. Now, whenever you look at a hospital bed in your home care, you want to look at the control remote. It's also referred to as a pendant. Head up and down, foot up and down, and then bed up and down. Now, when you've got the feature for bed up and down, that's basically what refers the difference between a full electric bed and a semi-electric bed. So if it was just head and foot up and down, they would have a crank, and you'd have to crank the bed up and down. That would be semi-electric. But since you've got the bed up and down buttons, this would actually now be a full electric hospital bed. Now, it's missing some features. It won't do a chair position. You can see, some of the beds that I've got in here are actually in a chair position. So this bed here obviously wouldn't have that, but in some cases you might not need it. So with a real hospital bed or a hospital grade bed, you can see here, you've got 4 rails. I got 1 rail drop down right there. You can kind of see, and then these rails are up above, but you basically have a 4-rail system, and the rails can be dropped out of the way. So if you're getting in and out of bed, you can easily remove those. With this one right here, now this is what we would call a 3/4 rail. So this rail starts about here, goes over to about here, right? That's a 3/4 rail. Now, how do you tell the rail system on a bed? The rail system on a bed, to this section right here is a 1/4 rail. So from here over, 1/4 rail. From here over, 1/2 rail. And then from the third section over, boom, 3/4 rail. So these rails do sort of go up and down a little bit, but they're really not going to get out of the way. So that, is something. Now, 3/4 rails is usually for somebody who is at risk of falling out of bed. 1/2 rails are for somebody that, might need help adjusting themselves in bed, and 1/4 rails are there, just as a precaution. The other thing you're going to see about a hospital grade bed, or this particular hospital grade bed, is it's got a bed deck which is spring. So this you can see here, if you notice, I'm pushing down and I'm able to, bend this down pretty well because it's got springs right here. And so, there's times where that might be a problem. Normally speaking, if you're a heavier person or a little larger, you're going to have a tendency to sink down into the middle of that bed, and eventually those springs can kind of, give a little bit into the middle. If you have an air mattress, you're not going to get a lot of support with that because of the way it's configured. If you come over here to, say, this is a Secure 3 bed, one of my favorites actually, really solid. I can open this thing up, and it's solid metal. So with a Secure 3 or regular hospital bed, you're going to have a solid metal bed pan. Now, you can technically lock it out. The 30-degree thing you see there on the far left is for cardiac-related patients. They would set the bed at 30 degrees because the heart needs to be 30 degrees up, and then they would just lock it out, hit the lock, and that way the person couldn't adjust it. You have Trendelenburg and reverse Trendelenburg. That wasn't on the other bed. This right here, the Trendelenburg, is used to slide a person back up on the top of the bed if they've slidden down, but also if they have swelling of the feet, if they have gout. Elevating the feet above the head will help circulate some of the toxic material out of the body, neuropathy, things like that. Here's another example where you're going to have the heart above the foot, and so Trendelenburg in the other direction will be used for that. These core basic ones were the ones we just saw, but anytime you have Trendelenburg in a bed, you can do a chair position. So this bed obviously would have a chair position. Every hospital grade bed has a chair. And then you've got the scale bed exit alarm. So you have some additional features here. And like I said earlier, you've got really solid rails. Like these rails on the Secure 3, man, you can literally do dips on these things. It is super solid. It's a 500-pound bed. One of the questions I always get asked is, can I get the bed into the house? Yes, you can, because we tip the bed sideways. So when the beds go sideways, they'll fit through a door frame. But you know, there's a lot of times what's happening. We sell beds literally by the thousands. We've been doing it the better part of 15 years. And, you know, there's times where, you know, in the past with companies I've been and worked for and been a part of, you know, we'll do 8,000 or 10,000 beds a year, and we'll basically send beds all over the world, build hospitals. So we know these beds very well. In fact, I'll just give you a little overview. Stryker Secure 2, one of my favorites is the Stryker Secure 3. Then you've got the Hill-Rom beds. You got the VersaCare. VersaCare bed can come with foam or air. And then you have the P1900 Total Care, but this is actually an 1840, which is a bariatric version of the Total Care. So it's a little bit wider than a normal Total Care. And then you have pretty much the best and most expensive bed made in the United States, which is the Hill-Rom Progressa. And this bed also sits into a chair. It's actually a newer version of the sport bed. But, you know, sometimes you can talk about what is the difference between a home care bed and a hospital bed. And, you know, I am a dealer for a lot of medical companies that sell these types of beds, but I really just don't like to mess with them too much. And the reason being is that by the time you buy this bed, get it all equipped, set it up, whatever, it's not that much more than just getting a refurbished bed. You know, I mean, these refurbished beds, the used refurbished beds in price are not that far off. And so many times people will say, look, I just got out of the hospital. I was in that bed, or I was in the Secure 3, and I want one of those beds for home. Now, many times this is probably all you need. Maybe you'd say, hey, my mom broke her hip and she's just going to need a bed for rehab for 2 or 3 months or whatever it is. That might just be perfectly fine. It might just be all you need. But many times what happens is people come out of the hospital and then they basically figure out that, you know, this is what they're getting through their insurance provider. And so, you know, they basically are like, okay, well, we need to get something else. And that probably will not work for us. And so that's a lot of the calls that we get. And like I said, when I started off the call or started off the video, you know, we've got locations, San Diego, California, Richmond, Virginia, which is where this is at. This is our showroom here in Richmond, Cincinnati, Ohio. So we ship beds literally all over the United States. I ship a lot of beds down to Florida, New York, California down there, does all deliveries in Southern California, but they send beds up to Seattle and Vegas and Phoenix, Arizona. A lot of beds go into Texas. But this is just a real quick overview. A lot of times, like I was saying earlier, somebody's in a hospital, they're getting ready to be discharged. The hospital says, look, you got 2 days, 3 days to get a bed ready for your loved one. And then it's like kind of puts everybody in a panic mode, and everybody's trying to figure out, okay, what bed do I get? You know, what are they going to need? And we do a lot of stuff with wound care prevention. So there's certain mattresses that we'll use that are for bed sores or treating or preventing bed sores. Bed sores and people using an air mattress. Usually, if the majority of your day is spent in bed and all you're doing is going from a bed to a chair, you're at risk of getting a bed sore, right? But if you're up moving around and you're walking around and there's time in between where you're giving that tailbone area some rest, well then, yeah, you can probably just go with the foam mattress. And so beds like the Stryker Secure 3, they have a rack right here. This rack allows me to put a air mattress on here if I don't want to use the foam mattress that it came with. And then, like I said, with a lot of these other beds, they can be equipped with foam or air. So, you know, when you call us, we can kind of help you figure out what's the best bed that you can get for the money, right? Because you can get a Secure 2, a Secure 3. You know, ballpark, they're really about all the same price. But there's certain bed models you probably won't see in here because they're just not real reliable, and I just don't like dealing with them. And if you call me up and ask for one of those beds, I'm probably going to share that information with you. because the goal really is to just work with the beds that are the most reliable, that give you the functions and the features that you need. And that's really what we do. I mean, we deal with these beds on a daily basis. I know these beds better than probably most people know their children, with all the technicians, service calls, and everything else. And we do provide warranties, and we do take care of service. But we always just want to focus on staying with the equipment that's most reliable. You know, just like any other type of manufacturer, sometimes they have good models, even cars and things like that. And then there's probably models that that are like, no, that one's probably not good. So this is basically just a real quick video to show you the difference between a home care hospital bed and an actual hospital grade hospital bed. And one last thing that I will say is there is also long-term care beds. Long-term care fits in between hospital and home care. And one of the primary differences is that this is going to be a solid metal mesh. It will still be metal with probably some holes in it, but it's solid metal, so it's not spring. So I will not be able to push it down. It'll give you more support. We do sell those types of beds as well. So if you're looking for something for long-term care, those are sometimes options that we have in stock. But, when it comes to different types of beds and, different beds that are different for each particular person or situation, we know this stuff pretty well. And as you can see, we have some of the best beds you can buy right now on display. So for more information, give us a call. USA MedBed, also Hospital Direct Medical. We're out of San Diego, 858-263-4894. You can call me out here in Virginia at 540-327-7376. And I also take calls for the Cincinnati location. And then also, you can go to our website, which is www.the1hospitalbeds.com. We've got a lot of models, a lot of different prices and things on there. But give us a call for more information. We can help find the right bed for you. We can ship and deliver it anywhere in the United States. And like I said, we've got warranties, and we can help guide you to get the best mattress and the best bed combo for your family member based on their needs, budget, and what have you. So USA MedBed, give us a call. The video today, difference between a home care bed and a hospital grade bed. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe and share, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.